Council to determine who will sit as the chair for this general committee meeting. At this point, I'll ask council if there's anyone who wishes to put their name forward. Councillor McDonald, does anyone have any objections? All right. Your Councillor McDonald, you will chair the meeting, and just to advise that there is an item on the agenda, an item on desk in relation to our staff report for the Javelin retaining wall construction contract, and that will show up as item 3 under section A.
So, Council, if you wish, I'm more comfortable sitting in my own chair right here, so I'll do it all right from here. So, welcome to the first General Committee for the fall season. We're all back after a great summer, good holidays, and all those good things that go along with it. So I'll try to get you through the meeting here. It's been a long time since I've done these things. But if I'm doing something wrong, Council, make sure you put your hand up and come and whisper in my ear. Then I'll do it the way you want to do it. So, Council, we have a few opening remarks. Welcome to the Town Council chambers. If you require hearing assistance device, they're available through the clerk. I would like to deliver the following safety message. In the event of a fire alarm system activates, please leave the room in an orderly fashion through one of the marked exit doors, the main entrance, the double glass doors at the back. Once exiting the doors, make an immediate left and proceed to the main front doors to the evacuation assembly area, which is located in the upper parking lot. The secondary exit, point to the door here behind Councillor Wachewski. Check the door for heat before opening. If safe, go onto the second floor, turn to your right and proceed to the door to the front, and proceed to the activation assembly area, which is again in the upper parking lot. Washrooms are located on the second floor, left of the reception desk. The elevator is located just outside the main entrance. Midland has a policy of respectful communications. Accordingly, council, staff, and public are reminded that violent or harassing behavior will not be tolerated, and you will be asked to leave the meeting. Thank you. And I think we have one item on desk, Council, that we'll get to during the process. So, Section A of the General Committee, I will refer to Councillor Fox.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. There's just 3 items. They are fairly quick, I think. The first item is the monthly report on waterworks. It just outlines the usual studies that are done in terms of ensuring our water is in compliance. If you have any questions, Mr. Burial, I'll be the best person to answer.
Just Councillor Fowle, before we go any further, does anyone have any conflict of interest? Seeing none, you can, if you see something later on that you have a conflict, you can identify it at that point. Councillor Fowle, that was the...
I believe that usually we just receive it for information unless people have questions, and Mr. Burial would be able to
Okay,
answer.
that's the waterworks report. Item number 2.
Item number 2 is just advising us that there are a number of water main construction projects. There are various tenders that will be finalized, it's anticipated, prior to council, and so we expect that they will come to council. I believe that's what Mr. Burial's intention is. They're just letting us know today that we may see them at the council meeting if they have been finalized and bylaws to associate with. They're, I believe all three of them are waterworks ones that are budgeted and planned for.
Yes, sir, thank you, Councillor File. I was here the other day when the polls were open. And Mr. Barrio and I had that conversation that yes, we should put it on the general committee and get it to council because the construction season is coming to a short end here pretty soon. So we should make sure that we handle it at the end of the month. So you see the tenders, no questions? Seeing none, thank you, Councillor File.
The third item is on desk. It was something that was discussed at our briefing session, and the reason that it's on desk is because our engineer was at the time still trying to work out the arrangement and the agreement towards how this work on the Javelin retaining wall would be paid for. And so the report sets out here some of the history, some of the importance for why this retaining wall does need to go forward. There's a number of photographs that sort of illustrate the problem. This was previously budgeted for and discussed and tendered, but there were some differences between the parties as to whether or not the shared maintenance cost agreement would prevail. But some agreements appear to have been reached, at least with Javelin Cooperative Homes in the county assisting with their portion. Mr. Galloway has anticipated what our portion is. It's less than what's in the budget, but we will still need to, of course, see where contingencies get dealt with, and it's a complex project, and we still need to work on an agreement with one of the parties. I believe that Mr. Galloway wishes to proceed. The time on this one is also rather urgent now that the fall is here. There was a tender previously opened, and so he's asking that we accept that tender and move forward so that the construction could be dealt with. And I believe that some ongoing discussions will need to be had with one of the parties. I don't know if Mr. Galloway wishes to comment some more.
Mr. Galloway, would you like to comment further on that issue?
Really not a whole lot to add. There is urgency due to the end of the construction season, and the county has come forward with $200,000 that will, if we don't take advantage of it, or if this project doesn't take advantage of it, my understanding is they will ultimately reallocate. So there's some urgency there as well.
So, Council, the idea is that we proceed with this to Council at the end of the month as well. I think we're in a good position to proceed. I don't see any problem. This issue has been going on for quite some time, so we need to bring this into a conclusion somehow. So, at the end of the month, Councillor File.
Just, I know you've got sort of a number of things, and I know it's still a kind of a work in progress until, in terms of the arrangement. Is the only decision that you are looking for at the council meeting that the tender basically be accepted and go forward, and then you're going to see how these other negotiations work out as to whether we are needing to take a different course of action depending on what happens? Like we're just going to go forward with your proposal with the tender, and then we're going to get that money on a without prejudice basis, I guess, from the job.
Mr. Galloway.
Sure. The $200,000 from the county and the $225,000 from Javelin are without prejudice. There's $175,000 from the Sayward development, which there's been discussions about how that would be transferred, but the feeling was with the county and the co-op in place, And again, the construction season waning, and we felt it was time to bring it to the council and try to get the project done.
Does the council any further questions? Seeing none, I guess we'll proceed with taking the council on the 26th. Okay, Councilor File?
That's the end of my section.
Thank you very much. Section B, refer that to Councilor Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have a number of items to see if the items to deal with. First item is a bylaw. It's a dog control bylaw. This is a report dated September 6, 2016 from our then municipal law enforcement officer recommending that staff be directed to bring forward a bylaw to amend 2009-18 to the September council meeting for consideration. What has changed on this bylaw is the exemption for police and guide dogs. This would be controlled by the municipal law enforcement officer. So this is a new amendment, Mr. Chair, so it's up for discussion if there's
Any questions on that item, Council? I think you're gone for dogs. Okay, so that will come to Council. Carry on, Councilor Thomas.
Thank you. The next item is our municipal law enforcement officer's August report, and it's treated as information. There is information for council that I believe has been read by council. Unfortunately, at this time, there is no park and revenue report for August. There will be provided next month. The reason for this, Mr. Chair, is we have a backlog of work that has been done in the finance department, but this will be put up for the next month for the second report on the revenue. So, through you, if there's any questions on the report, do they know?
So Council will receive that as information. Thank you. Carry on.
Our next item is the Huronia Museum Lease Review. This is a report dated September 1st, 2016 from our Director of Corporate Services, the Clerk and Deputy CAO, recommending that staff be directed to forward the draft lease and partnership agreement to the Huronia Museum Board for their review and approval, and further provided both agreements are approved by the Huronia Museum Board. The said agreements shall be brought forward to a future council meeting for formal approval. For you, Mr. Chair, this is a partnership agreement and draft lease that was been worked on for the last year, and we finally reached a tentative agreement. And from the town's perspective, we had worked on it for over a year and finally brought forth to the museum. It is now at the museum level. Hope that this will be discussed and brought forth for approval for the next council. So this is open for discussion or any questions from council.
All right, Council, any questions? Councilor Rochelle.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One thing that I noticed in the document was that the existing agreement between the museum and the Wise Men's Club would be discontinued. First, I didn't know that they had an agreement. Is the Wise Men's Club within the museum? And if so, are we discontinuing that agreement? It's under existing agreements, number one.
Mr. Chair, I'll pass this on to our clerk who will answer that question.
Madam Clerk.
Thank you. That relates to an old lease agreement that was between the Midland Wise Men's Club and the Board of Park Management in relation to the Indian Village. That has since transferred over to the museum. So as it indicates the old lease with the town, it also just to clarify or to clear up those previous leases. So it hasn't been in the ownership or of the Wise Men's Club for some time.
Thank you.
Councillor Fox.
Just because I know some of the councillors who had questions on this before aren't here, but just to kind of be clear that I am supporting this. We did previously pull this one at the time it came back to council because of the work that we were doing with all of the other leases. And so we had anticipated that all of the leases would get dealt with in some comprehensive way. And I think what, we have discovered, I suppose, in that process is that it's very difficult to try to, deal with, recreational facilities, cultural facilities, groups that are doing things in our parks, groups that are doing things in some of our buildings, and the museum, as well as some of the other groups that have been coming to us and asking us if they could perhaps have their particular situation dealt with because of the fact that they may have some possibilities and opportunities to apply for funding with respect to their physical structures. So this is one of those groups where essentially what will happen if we finalize this in this form is that it's true, their lease will be $1, similar to the YMCA, similar to, we're just going to enter into their health unit one for $1. Like, it's not uncommon for towns to have a lease, even if we have one with the MCC. And so what we gain from this, I think, is clarification that going forward, they are going to be responsible for the building, and they will be responsible for the maintenance. They will be responsible for all of the utilities. They will be responsible for all of those kinds of things in relation to the building. And in exchange, we will agree that the roof that was repaired a few years ago, and we did previously pay for reserves, anticipating that we would recover somewhat, but we're not going to do that now. But where there's going to be some further clarification is there was in that old agreement an amount of money that would have transferred if there at some point in the future, the building went back to the museum and, was no longer going to be used, or it came to the town and no longer going to be used. That amount of money in 1967 would be a significantly greater amount of money if there was some argument applied that really we should be looking at that in 2012 or 2016 dollars. So, although it seems like a small amount of money, $28,000, because people could disagree on what that would look like, it's a significant exchange, and I think a worthwhile exchange for the town to get that clarified. And that was also one of the things that was negotiated, was sort of like, let's put what's in the past, and then let's go forward from here. And I think that that's part of the relationship that I think we're trying to foster with our nonprofit groups and our cultural groups is, we have space in buildings or park space, and what we do is give that community to leverage, for all sorts of wonderful things. And the museum has a lot of very dedicated people. There's a lot of activities that happen at the museum, tourism activities, historical activities, cultural activities, and so there's a recognition that they're providing some service to us. That's partly why we give them some funding each year, but it's also something that they feel is important in the relationship. So we're also trying to enhance that relationship, preserve that relationship, foster that relationship by coming to an agreement. And that's part of what we're doing in this. And so I look at it as building community capital and social capital, just like we talk about economic development. This is part of our cultural development. This is part of our social and community. So I know it's a change from some of the things that we have talked about, but I know Councillor Cotton and myself have attended a number of meetings, and I certainly know from the museum board's perspective, they were very keen to try to resolve this, and we're hoping that there's sort of some good benefits to both of us in this new model. And certainly our staff have also, Ms. Beggs, put a lot of work into this, and for the scale, and so, you know, it's not just come to us. This has been through several versions of this. So I know it's separate from our other lease thing, but maybe there's some wisdom in doing that.
I can tell your council I would be delighted to see this on the agenda. It's been dragging along for quite some time. So, council, we need to be part of the solution. Other than that, we'll be part of the problem. So we're trying to solve that problem because it's been dragging on too long. We have to make a decision. So, council, you got any further questions on this topic? Seeing none, Councillor Cotton, you will proceed to bring it to council in. Sorry, Councillor Fott?
I believe that the recommendation is to direct it to the museum board for their review and approval. So I'm just not sure if they have a meeting between now and the end of the month, but perhaps it will be able to be done by the end of the month. I'm not sure if what the time frame is.
Well, it kind of says here, a future meeting of council's consideration, so if it's not this month, it could be next. Councillor Cotton?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's anticipated that the museum board will be meeting within the next week or so, and I'm quite sure that they will come up with an answer for us. It needs to be convened for clarification, and it'll probably carry it to the next month, but it's anticipated that final approval will be given to move forward at the next council.
Great. Item 4.
This item, Mr. Chair, is just for information. It's the Midland Public Library General Committee report for the months of June and July. To you, Mr. Chair, if there's any questions of the report.
Councillor May.
Yes, thank you. Our council rep on the library's not here to relay the message, but I really like this new format. It's really clean and it's informative, and so it's great to share the news of what's going on in the library. I just wanted to thank the library. My brother and I, Brendan, we hosted a little video game day at the library, and it was a fun little event. Lots of people that were just passing through came through, and we just played Mario Kart, and we had different Mario Karts on different screens, and it was a fun little thing, and it was down at the hall in the basement, and it was a great time. So you can certainly see that the library is trying to do a little more outreach, and it's not just about books, it's about community, it's about education, continuous education. So it's great to see lots of the fun new initiatives at the library. So this is great to see from the library. So thanks again.
Very good. Councillor Fott.
It's not in this report, but I believe I saw something about the library now extending some Sunday hours, I believe from 12 till 4. And I'm not sure if anybody could confirm that, but I thought I saw a note somewhere that was going to be starting in September, which will be a very exciting development. I think people have been asking for that.
Well, I seen something to that effect as well. I guess we could, Madam Clerk, could you contact the library and confirm that at the end of the month? Councillor Sept.
So thank you, Mr. Chair. I think this is a great report. It's so easy to read and so well structured. It was nice to see the library save $5,000 by obtaining the microfilm reader from the Barrie Library. And really excited to see the tween space, as they're calling it now. Saying they're going to include technology and gaming aspects and some more appealing stuff in the safety group. I think it's exciting, and although I'm not a tween, I'll be there for the opening. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Cotton, the next item, number 5. Oh, sorry, Councillor Cannon.
Just to confirm the Sunday thing, it's on their website, just that it's on the open library.
Oh, good. Councillor Cotton, item number 5.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our next item is the Ontario 150 Trillium Grant application. The town has received a letter August 30th, 2016 from Mr. A. Coots, Georgian Bay District Secondary School Health and Physical Education Department Chair, requesting the addition of a community field house to the municipality's Ontario 150 grant, capital grant application to the Ontario Trillium Foundation. Mr. Chair, this is a request to look at the physical education of the students, and there's a shortage of space. And reading the letter, they're requesting that the town make application in their grant application to the Ontario Trillium Foundation. For you, if there's any questions, Mr. Chair, on this. I'm not quite sure whether it's too late. I'm not quite sure if Sean Berry was here or not to answer any of the questions about the application, but maybe through the staff, the clerk may respond to that.
Madam Clerk, could you answer that, please?
I can try. It is my understanding the library had a similar request for us, and as the corporation already is submitting an application for some work, I believe, at the rec center, the grant specifies one project, and so I don't think that they would be able to. I know in the case of the library, they realized if we already have one, then they wouldn't be able to apply through us because they would require us as well. They weren't eligible to apply directly. So unfortunately, in this circumstance, I think we will have to deny that request.
Councilor Fine.
I guess I'm not sure, this is added to Ontario 150 capital grant application to the Ontario Trillium Foundation. And I'm not sure if it is the same. Maybe the federal 150 is also being administered by the Ontario Trillium Foundation, but it's possible that it's the same, and it's possible that it's a separate thing. So I just don't know whether, because the Ontario Trillium Foundation is a very specific foundation, so I don't know. I'm sorry, Mr. Barrett's not here, so we can't ask him if it's the same. I know they talked about Canada 150, and that's why I'm just not sure if it's the exact same funding source.
Madam Clerk, could you sort out the 150s for us?
Thank you. I did speak with Sean before he left, and he did confirm that we are submitting an application with respect to the rec center for this particular application.
You probably couldn't get two, so you'd have to have it as one.
Yeah, it is my understanding, as I said, the library was inquiring and asking if they could be inserted on our application, and it was their understanding as well that it was limited to one project. Having said that, if we review it and determine that there is availability and council is in agreement, we could move forward from that perspective, but as I said, it is our understanding that as we are submitting an application, they couldn't be included on ours.
Councilor Fine.
I guess it concerns me that the way they introduced this is that the building of the new school, there's going to be a 2/3 reduction in physical education space as compared to what was MSS and PSS. So I don't know whether, I know one of the things that we try to do is, I know MSS students, and I believe even some of the public school students, we're sometimes going to curling or going to skating or using our rec center for various activities. So I wonder, perhaps Mr. Barrow would be able to tell us, perhaps there's other arrangements we could be looking at to enhance the capacity of our facilities being used by the schools in order to ensure that we still have a lot of physical education happening in the new school. So, if we can't support the field house application, there could be other ways that we could be building relationships for use of our space. So maybe we could hear back from them as to what other things are possible for us to make sure that our facilities are reasonably able to be used by the schools.
Madam Clerk.
Thank you. The town and the school board have entered into a joint use agreement some time ago, and it will be coming forward to council just to re-enter into that agreement. So there is an existing agreement in place that would lay out the costs associated with using our facilities at a reduced cost and all those types of things to encourage that type of arrangement. So we can reach out to them and remind them of that agreement as well.
Thank you. Councillor Sept.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I actually met with Mr. Coots and the principal of GBDSS in regards to their fieldhouse application. I think it's a great idea. When I went to MSS, there was 4 gyms, and the current school layout has 1 gym. So I can understand why they need the more space. It sounded like the fieldhouse was going to be open to the public teams during the evenings. So not only is it good for the school, it's also good for the community. If we can't get them the grant, at least I'd like to voice my support for their fieldhouse. And I was gonna, if I took the words right out of my mouth, I was gonna say about the 50-50 agreement we have with the school board and the municipality. So I support the application, and I hope they get some luck along the way.
Councillor May.
Yeah, just something to be further noted is that we've been working with Penetang as part of the Midland Penetang Transit Committee to try to connect the Midland campus with the Penetang campus, and so it's a temporary fix to try to figure out how to get the students from Midland to Penetang and back. But I know Nita Dugo with Penetang Deputy Mayor, she's been working, and we've been working together with the principal and the school board and staff, Sean Berrio, to try to figure out what's the best way to get the kids back and forth. So it might be a temporary solution, it might be a little bit clunky, but we're always open to solutions, and we're always trying to help out our community partners.
Thank you. And yes, I think the application is a valid application. And, we just don't know. Let's creep along with this so that we don't discourage them from putting in it, right? But we can inquire about it and move on. And item number 6, this is the one we wanted to get to. It's the Santa Claus parade.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is the 39th Annual Santa Claus Parade. It's a letter dated August 26, 2016 from Mr. J. Fields, the Midland Civic Club. And it's the chairperson requesting permission to proceed with the above event on November 26, 2016 at 11 a.m. according to the group provided. It's in the letter, Mr. Chair, and request also the blocking of certain roads as usual on an annual basis. For you, Mr. Chair, if there's any questions.
Any questions, Council? I think we normally approve this and staff can work out some of the other people that we need to talk to, the roads, the police, and so on. It's a pretty common thing. I didn't expect this to say no, so we move on. We're not canceling Christmas this year. I said this year. Okay, thank you. Councillor Compton, item number 7.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There are 2 letters, items 7 and 8, of concerning complaints. The first letter is 228 Chaingate Drive, Midland. It's a letter dated August 19, 2016 from an anonymous individual expressing concern regarding an ongoing bylaw issue related to the above noted property. I believe that council has read the letter, and what the gist is there's neglect and concern for messy driving on an ongoing basis, and what request is what the town can do about it. So, through Mr. Chair, that's all I have.
Council, you got any questions on this issue? Councillor Pop?
I guess I had some concerns about both of these letters coming to council directly. My understanding is that if people have a complaint, they can actually go on the website and they can write, they can even monitor progress. and with our bylaw department. And if anything, I would rather sort of not comment without being able to sort of receive a report from our bylaw officer as to whether or not these complaints have been referred to them. And perhaps they may have an answer as to whether they have investigated it and the issues may be such that the bylaw officer determines there's a concern that has to be addressed, or the bylaw officer may advise us that it doesn't cross over that threshold. I know we've got quite a few bylaws regarding the Yards Act and Home Press Act, and various rules about rural vehicles and things like that. So I do know we have some rules, and we have certainly been apprised that the bylaw officer has in fact acted in some cases when they felt that the bylaw was behind it. So I'd really like to see a response or a report, I guess, from our bylaw officer as to, have these complaints been referred to them and have they been able to proceed with them before council raised it.
Madam Clerk?
Thank you. Yes, as you indicated, the reason they're on the agenda, of course, is procedurally it was addressed to mayor, members of council, and in particular the one that had requested that it go to council, the second one specifically. So that's why you're seeing them here this evening. I do have a bit of information specifically with respect to the first one that we're looking at, item 7, if council wishes, or if council prefers, they can request that staff follow up and provide some additional information to council at the end of the month for consideration at that point.
Councillor Sept?
Well, thank you. Are we talking about both these simultaneously, or are we going to deal with them one by one?
We should deal with the one.
One by one? Yeah, I haven't spoke with our bylaw department in regards to the first one, but I would like to voice that I'm empathetic of it, because I just sold my house after 40 showings, and the main complaint that I got from real estate was that my neighbor had piles and piles of things in their yard that they tended to rotate around, but they never seemed to go away. So I haven't looked at this property personally. I meant to before I got here, but I've been guilty myself by moving to my new house. I put my washer and dryer in my front yard with a tarp on them until I could sell them. So I'm not sure if my neighbors complained about me, but I'm empathetic. So I think we should do something about it.
Madam Clerk, I think we should run this at least by their bylaw officer, just in case that they may have given another answer to this question, and we would contradict that answer, and we just went out with an answer to that question. So I think we should run it by the bylaw officer and have it come back to council. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had the opportunity this weekend to drive by the area, and now I looked at 228 Chaingate Drive, whether that's the facility or not, but it looked not out of order. It just seemed to have been cleaned up, but I'm wrong, so maybe it might be advantageous to get a report in a row on this, just to ensure the integrity of the
And really, council, when somebody writes me a letter, or writes the mayor and council a letter, they should at least sign the letter. So then you know who sent the letter. So I have a cranky situation with that kind of getting a letter. My name is on it, or your name is on it. I'll know who to get back to. But getting back to an anonymous person is troublesome, because you can get to the wrong person. Madam Clerk.
Thank you. I do have an email from our bylaw enforcement officer to Mayor McKay regarding this property. Now, it was dated back on the 23rd, but I believe the property is in a similar order at this point. And when he did the investigation, there were no violations with respect to municipal bylaws at that point. And as Councillor Khan indicated, it appears that that may be the case today, although, as I said, this was dated August 23rd.
Councillor Cotton, any further questions? Item number 8.
Item number 8, this is a complaint.
Sorry. This is a complaint letter, it's a condemned home William Street. This is a letter received August the 30th, 2016 from Mr. H. Willis expressing concern regarding the condition of a property on William Street. It's an abandoned house and it's very, very messy, and it's concerned with animals going inside the building, and so the concern is what will the town do with this, and I believe it will be in the hands of our enforcement officer and to provide some kind of a recommendation.
Councillor Shasta.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We actually received another complaint about this property last week in writing, and it's been going on for quite some time. There's definitely a hole in the roof, and there's definitely an entrance and exit way for raccoons. I just find it ironic that you get a ticket in Midland for having 3 cats, but you can have 10 raccoons in your roof. There's no violation of bylaw there. My last house had a raccoon issue, and I understand that they do damage to the inside of the property, and they devalue the property that they're living inside, and I feel that they devalue the surrounding properties as well. The person that made the complaint has said that they've been pestered by raccoons for the time that they've lived there, and this is one where I think that we should step in and do something. I understand that we've had dealings with this property owner in the past, and they've relocated some of their assets to the yard at this property, so I think we should step in and do something in this case.
In the short run, Council, what I would suggest is that we at least respond to both of these letters, that yes, we're thanking for the letter and so on, and we will bring it to a conclusion one of these days, but some of these things take a little more time than just go out tomorrow morning and do it. Something we've got to know that we're within all the guidelines of what we have to do and how we're going to do it. So I think in the short run, we answer both letters that we received and we discussed the council, and then we go from there to the bylaw. Councilor Fox.
I guess I'm a bit worried that we don't want to necessarily encourage people to use the method of writing to council as a way of kind of bringing extra attention, I guess, to their neighborhood issues. We have staff, we have property standards, we have a bylaw officer. I spoke to some people in the building department because I believe the last letter that we got suggested that the building was unsafe, and the building department advised me that they have looked at it and that it's not actually unsafe building in terms of the rules around what was considered a safe building. We did recently deal with a building that was considered, it had deteriorated to the point that it was unsafe, and our staff were able to take steps to address that. I have raccoons that wander into my backyard, and I see them at night. I can see them walking across the street. They're as bold as anything. I'm not sure where they're coming from, but I don't know that we can reasonably have residents expect that, it's the town's responsibility to figure out where every raccoon is coming from, if they're coming from under a porch, or, in someone's front porch, or, they live in a town. They're an urban animal. So, if they are a pest, though, maybe we do have some steps we can take with our animal bylaw. And so I don't know whether, it's possible to, if they're coming onto other people's property, whether they can set fly traps or whether they can do something. So again, I'd like to hear back from our staff, because I really would rather have people, like these letters should really be referred to staff. Council, I'm not sure we can do a lot at the council table, and particularly where people, not so much this letter, but the last one, is being critical of our staff, suggesting they're not doing it wrong or something. When I think that they are, and perhaps there's a difference of opinion as to what can be done.
Councilor Shasta.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I disagree with Councilor Fowle on this one. this is something that's gone through our bylaw system, and they don't feel like anything's been done, and it's kind of our job to act on that. And if somebody felt our planner wasn't doing their job, they'd write us a letter. We get them quite often. If somebody felt our public works department weren't doing their job, they'd write us a letter, and we get them quite often. I don't think bylaw should be any different. It's just my thoughts.
Councillor Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that at the conclusion of the letter, there is a request that someone from the town have a look at the facility and determine the assessment, and then come back and at least conclude, say, this in the report and what the next steps are going to be, so that is a request that's been asked by the gentleman who wrote the letter, but it's also complaints not just with the individual letter writer, but it's also expresses that certain neighbors that they mentioned in the letter also have concerns. So it'll be up to staff to provide that assessment and come back to the board.
Yeah, and Council, I think raccoons became part of the discussion here, but our bylaw officer is not going to start chasing raccoons. Come on. There's other things that he can do in these kind of situations. Is be out there and be vigilant out there with these things, and before they come to us, there can be some process that we got to fix halfway there before it comes to our table. But this property has been that way for a long time. It just didn't happen yesterday. That would have been that way for a number of months, a number of years. So the best we can do is answer the letters and then make sure the bylaw reports back to us on both of these situations. So that when we discuss it next time, we can clearly tell the public that yes, we're working on it. Is that the end, Councillor Fine?
Councillor Khan.
Councillor Collins, I should say, and Councillor Fine, we're both out there.
That concludes the administrative matters for this evening, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. So, is there any other business, Council? Councillor Sept?
Thank you. I've got two. On October 1st, Castle Village Enchanted Kingdom will be hosting a supper featuring authentic medieval dishes and some family entertainment. I'd like to encourage the public to bring some non-perishable food items to support the local food banks. The admission is $10 for adults, $5 for children. It's very affordable. It should be a great night. It's a community event and it's very family friendly, and I'd like to thank the people from the facility for coming tonight. So, thank you.
Thank you. Number two?
Thank you. This is one we've been speaking of. The BIA and the town have been working together on doing a Halloween movie night down at 509 Bay. I'd like to get the details together and maybe prepare a report that we can put on the council agenda to get permission to use the square. We've been asking the public to vote for what movies they'd like to see, and so far Nightmare Before Christmas is in the lead. Close runners-up are Ghostbusters, Goosebumps, and Casper. So I'd like to encourage the public to get in there and vote on what movie you'd like to see, and hope to see you down at 509 Bay.
Council, is there any other new business? Seeing no other new business, I can be on record as the shortest general committee meeting for this term of council so far. So I have a motion moved by Councillor Olszewski, seconded by Councillor Romaine, that this general committee of council adjourn at 7:50 p.m. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. I thought you'd want to stay till 10 o'clock. I'm not sure. Thank you very much, Council.
You can leave there.
You can go home and watch the Jays now.
Good old place.
I just shut down all this upstairs though. That's not
Hey, Chris, what's the event called again?
The event is, yeah, in October. In October,